This week on the Digital Coffee, should you only be using 5 hashtags on Instagram? Facebook are giving us a new type of an account to manage our Facebook pages and our Facebook ads, and LinkedIn are working on paid events. All that and more after this. Good morning, and welcome to the Digital Coffee. This is your weekly dose of digital marketing and social media news for small business. My name is Amanda Webb. Amanda Webb, clutching her coffee mug as if there was coffee in it. If you're a regular viewer, you know to tell me, what is it that is in your cup? Is it tea? Is it coffee? Is it something else? If you are on Facebook, don't forget that if you leave a comment telling me about what's in your cup, or actually telling me anything, I will send you immediately via Messenger a copy of the Digital Coffee newspaper. If you are on YouTube, I have pinned a comment to the top of the chat. It's also in the description, and you can sign up to make sure you get the Digital Coffee newspaper every week. Also, if you don't have anything in your cup or don't want to tell me, because that could be a data and privacy thing, you could tell me your answer to the question of the week, which as always relates to one of our stories this week. I want to know, have you used Twitter Spaces yet? Speaking of which, if you haven't, and you would like to come and join a Twitter space, you don't have to talk if you don't want to. You can just listen in at 10:30 a.m. Join myself and May King Sang to discuss these stories in more detail on Twitter. You will find a pinned tweet on my Twitter account at Spiderworking where you can click to join in. I think I've said everything that I need to say, so let's just say good morning to Ginny, who says tea for me, and yes, Instagram hashtag shocker, only 3 to 5 hashtags makes no sense. This is an odd one, and it is going to be our first story. Am I glitchy or is it you? You know what? That's really odd, because when I set up the question of the week on Facebook just now, it seemed to be a little bit glitchy. Like at my end, it's fine. So you could, if I am glitchy, check on YouTube, see is it a problem there or is it just Facebook? Good morning, Laura. Tea for you and Instagram hashtags. What the hey? Yeah, can't wait to hear my take on it. No to Twitter Spaces. Well then, Laura, come in at 10:30 a.m. onto Twitter, onto my Twitter account, look at my pinned tweet, and you can come and join our space. No need to talk if you don't want to, but if you do want to, you can come and join in, and that will be your first space. Not glitchy there. I'm very glitchy. I'm a bit glitchy. If we're to be honest, I'm a bit glitchy this morning, but that's good to hear, Deirdre. I'm glad it's working for you. Okay, so we want to talk about those hashtags. I've kind of spoiled it. That's what we're going to talk about next.
Hi, I'm Kyra Fingleton from Glamping Under the Stars, and you're watching The Digital Coffee with Amanda Webb.
Hashtags are the glue that sticks Instagram together. As you know, when you add hashtags to your posts on Instagram, they end up in search results for those hashtags, and that's a great way to get discovered. You can add up to 30 hashtags to your images and videos and reels and everywhere. And you should use relevant ones. So you should use ones that are relevant to the content that you're posting, and also try and think about hashtags that the people that you want in your audience may use. So that's day one hashtags. You know all that stuff. But what's really weird is this week, Instagram on one of their accounts, their creator account, shared some tips about using hashtags, the do's and don'ts. And in the do's, how many hashtags should you use? It said 3 to 5. 3 to 5 hashtags. And on the next screen, which I didn't grab for you, but on the next screen, it says that using 10 or more hashtags won't get you more discoverability. Well, Twitter went mad. Twitter went mad. So it's hard because when you get advice from Instagram, you feel like you should follow it. We've had a look at some of Adam Mosseri's blog posts that he's put up on Instagram recently that do seem like good advice, that tell us about the way that Instagram is changing. And when you see something like this, my instant reaction was, well, if that's what Instagram say, that's what we should do. But having talked to many social media managers over the past few days, I've changed my mind. I've changed my mind because those people are using more than 5 hashtags. They're doing their research. They're finding the hashtags that are working for them. They know that they're getting more discoverability when they use more hashtags. They know that they're getting more engagement when they use more, and I have to say, relevant hashtags. And they are also getting followers as a result of them using hashtags. So hashtags and more hashtags than 5 still seems to be a thing. Knowing that, why would Instagram say this? Why would they say 3 to 5 hashtags? I've had some thoughts. Firstly, they see hashtags being used badly and they want to discourage people using them. Because let's face it, if you've done a hashtag search, you'll know you get some pretty irrelevant results in there. And that seems to be people, they just cut and paste the same hashtags into every single post that they put up. That's not a good strategy because it's not relevant. It's not going to help your content be found in a good way. It might turn up in search, but it's going to get scrolled by because it's irrelevant to the tag that you've chosen. That's the first reason. They want to encourage us to use fewer tags. Seems like that's not going to work. Secondly, the second reason, and if we think back to some of the updates we've had from Adam Mosseri, which I think I've actually said his name right for the first time ever, he talked about the way that search is evolving and changing. So this could be part of something that we're going to see in the future. We know that keyword research keywords are going to become a bigger part of search, and search is changing. So could it be that in the future, hashtags are going to seem less relevant and keywords are going to be more relevant? I'm sorry I can't tell you exactly how many hashtags you should use, but just experiment would be my thing. I would steer away from dropping down to 5 if you're using 15 or 20 or 30 even. Just use enough hashtags to tell people what the photo's about. You may want to use a branded hashtag so it's easy for your stuff to be found under one particular window or a campaign hashtag. And that is my thoughts. I'd love to hear yours, particularly if you're a social media manager. And I know we've got a few social media managers here. I'd like to know your experience of using hashtags. I do think they're going to have less relevance in the future, but for now, you should probably keep using them. Good morning to Deirdre watching on YouTube. Zero is brutal this morning. What is that? What is that? Lovely morning weather though. Lovely morning weather. Yes, well, actually, yeah, I'm looking out as if I'm surprised because it is a beautiful sunny day outside. I'll have to go for a walk. Right, what's next up on the news? And do let me know your thoughts on hashtags. Good morning, Kate. I can just see Kate's coming. I'd love to hear your thoughts on Instagram hashtags and how many you use or how many you think you should use. I almost pressed the wrong button. I almost didn't press Charlie, but here he is.
Hi, I'm Charlie Lawrence and you're watching The Digital Coffee with Amanda Webb.
If you were one of those people that when you set up your Facebook page originally, you set up a separate profile for it. If that's you, I'm not going to tell you off. You know you shouldn't have done it, but that's how you've been managing your Facebook. And unfortunately, a lot of people set this up. They set up a new profile so that every employee could log in via that to get to their Facebook page. And what's been happening over the last few months is Facebook has been cracking down on this. They've been taking down the profiles. They've been limiting what you can do on the pages that are connected to those profiles. And then finally, you get a notification that the page is going to be taken away. Scary. And this is happening a lot to a lot of people right now. It's almost as if Facebook just realized this was happening. And it's a bit of a pain because Why did people set up these fake profiles in the first place? It's because they wanted to separate their life, their regular life, from their business life. Now, I could talk about the pros and cons of that all day long. I'm not a fan of you doing this. I'd never recommend it. In fact, I spent a lot of time getting people to add new admins. And that's the problem. If you hadn't added a new admin to the page, when that profile is deleted, you can no longer get into that page. It is gone. There is no other admin. Now, Facebook has suddenly realized that this is a problem, that people don't want their Facebook personal profiles, or they don't even want to use Facebook personally, but they want to have a business account. And of course, they want us to have business accounts so we can spend money. They're working on something they're calling work accounts. And this seems to be a new type of an account. It's not going to be a fully fleshed out Facebook profile. It's just going to be a window so that you can set up a page, you can run ads, and you can manage your business. I'm guessing through Business Suite or Business Manager. And it's almost like, hello, Facebook. This has been going on for years and you've only just realized that you should do this. I mentioned it to a client yesterday and there was a big sigh of relief that this was going to happen. They didn't have one of these so-called grey pages. That's what happens when they close your profile. But they were relieved that finally you'd be able to separate your work life from your personal life. Having said all that, if you have got a personal Facebook, there is no reason not to connect it to your Facebook business page. Nobody on your friends list can see what's going on. None of the admins can see your Facebook profile beyond what you share publicly, which they could see normally. But I think this is a great innovation from Facebook. So let's hope it gets rolled out soon. Gosh, there's loads of you leaving very long comments. So let's go. Good morning to May King, who, don't forget, she is my co-host on the Digital Coffee Extra Shot, which happens at 10:30 a.m. on Twitter. How many hashtags to use, even though 3 to 5 hashtags are recommended on Instagram? Well, that's the question. How many to use? No, I would use more. I don't use hashtags. But I don't really use Instagram. For clients, I always recommend that they use at least 10. So I'm not going to tell them to use 5 now, definitely not. Good morning to Roy, who's drinking his decaf tea and avoiding the rain. See, now look, some of us have sunshine. I'm sorry, Roy. I mean, you're in a place that's normally sunny, so you know I'm not gonna be worried that I've upset you. Good morning to Tim. I suspect the reason they suggest less hashtags is because more people put random ones beyond the 3 to 5 well-chosen ones. Absolutely. You see, that is the thing. I think hashtags get abused, end up in search results, which make those search results irrelevant, which isn't good for Instagram and isn't good for them either. Laura, right. Now, Laura is a social media manager. I've had clients lately who get completely locked out of their pages for that reason. So talking about the Facebook thing, yeah, this is happening at an alarming rate. I've had to deal with 3 recently, 3. And I'm not even a social media manager. People are coming to me to sort it out because it happened to them. I did manage to resolve it for one client, but it took weeks and weeks of talking to Facebook online support and sending tons of documents. Yeah. It's a nightmare. It's a nightmare. Right, now Kate is a big Instagrammer. You've been using 30. You tried 3 yesterday and the post didn't do well compared to normal, but need to test more. I don't think hashtags give you the extra reach that people say it does. So I really think it depends on the hashtags that you use. Jen's Trends, if you see Jen's Trends, she's got an excellent blog post on this, on the 5 hashtag things, and then talking about her hashtag strategy. I know some of you know about it already because she did something for my Facebook group. So if you're in there, you would have seen her hashtag strategy. It's very smart. So I would look at that, and I definitely wouldn't be changing the way that you use Instagram until you've tested it. Facebook, hurtling into the 21st century, aren't they? And it is also rainy in Tim's land, which I believe it is near London. Ireland is sunny, just saying. Laura, any day now. I'm not sure what that is. So let's move on. We've got other things to talk about. Let's move on.
Hello, this is Rob Charles, the voice of Mike on Forever FM on Peter Kay's Car Share. BAFTA award winning, I've got to say, but I've not seen the BAFTA yet. Anyway, you're watching The Digital Coffee with Amanda Webb. Enjoy. I'm on tea. Shh.
Facebook announced a whole host of new features for both Facebook and Instagram this week in one really long article. And I'm just going to share 5 of them with you now. In fact, I already shared with you about the new work accounts that was part of this. This is 5 on top of that. So a lot of them relate to Messenger. The first one is about click to Messenger ads. So if you run ads to get messages, this is actually a really good way to start conversations with your customers. You can add a chatbot to it, which can automate part of the process. I've used them in the past. They can be highly effective. But currently, when you set up these ads, you can either choose to click to Messenger or click to WhatsApp to start that conversation, which is fine. But what's going to happen now is you're going to get dynamic Messenger ads. So what will happen is when you set it up, instead of just choosing one channel, I believe you'll be able to choose from 3 channels. You'll be able to choose from Facebook Messenger, Instagram Direct, or WhatsApp. You can add all 3 if you want to. And when Facebook shows your ads to people, they will show the button to the Messenger app that person prefers or that person is more likely to click. So this is what I know you can't read that, but it's a pretty picture. It's a pretty picture. This is what will happen. They'll see the ad, and depending on which one is right for them, they will click, which of course has its downsides because you're going to need to keep an eye on all 3 messenger platforms. It's okay for Facebook and Instagram because that all comes into your Business Suite app or into Business Suite, but WhatsApp is currently separate. I imagine we're going to see that integrated as soon as they manage to push their privacy policy through, but that's it for now. It will make those types of ads more successful. And remember, those types of ads aren't impacted as heavily by the iOS 14 update because all the action happens on Facebook or Instagram. They still can't track WhatsApp. The second one then, apparently people like to chat on WhatsApp about products and customer things rather than the platform that they've seen the product on. So even if they see the product on Instagram, they like to have a conversation on WhatsApp, apparently. So what are Facebook and Instagram and WhatsApp doing? They are adding a WhatsApp button or giving you the option to add a WhatsApp button to your Instagram profile to have those conversations. Maybe it's a little bit of trust building. I don't know, because they know that WhatsApp is connected to a phone number. I don't know the reason behind it, but it sounds like a smart thing to do. The third one is to add a request a quote button to your Facebook profile. And what this does is it will bring people into Messenger. And when they jump into Messenger, they'll have a number of questions to answer. And that means when you start the conversation, you'll be able to see those answers to the questions so you can quote them more fully. Now, this is something I do when people apply for my trust program. I ask them to complete questions, and that helps me understand, are they right for that program? I think this is very smart. And again, because it's all happening on Facebook, it's not impacted by the iOS 14 update. So you'll be able to retarget people who started filling in the answers to those questions. You'll be able to push that sale through in a better way. I think that's good. Number 4, lead gen ads on Instagram. What are you talking about, Amanda? Well, you may be familiar. You may have clicked one of these, even if you haven't set one up, because they're becoming more a part of Facebook advertising, again, because they're not affected by the iOS 14 update. Lead form ads, which you set up a lead gen campaign and you would add a form which people click through to, they put in their details, and maybe you send them a freebie, or maybe that's a way of requesting a quote. They're absolutely amazing for service-based businesses because very often you'll need a form filled. So now instead of sending them to your website, you can get them to fill in the form on Facebook. Or for building your email list. That's another effective way you can use them. Now, you're going to be able to run ads with lead forms on Instagram, which is great because I think so many people are using Instagram now and so many people are spending time there that now we can run these ads with the lead forms cross-platform is great. And of course, because it's happening on Facebook, we're able to retarget people who engage with our lead form. So it's another way to build an audience rather than relying on your website data. And number 5, I can see your questions, I'll be back. Number 5 is the strangest one. They haven't gone into any detail, but they say manage emails in Business Suite. Does this mean that you'll be getting your emails coming into Business Suite, your regular emails, or does this mean you'll be able to just set up an email address again? Do you remember when we had Facebook email addresses? That didn't work. Where people will be able to email you or send their email into Business Suite. And they've also said you'll be able to send remarketing emails. So when somebody's engaged with you, you'll be able to email them. We did see some stuff kind of hinted at in the back end of Business Suite, I think last year, where you could set up and collect email addresses. But is this going to be separate from your regular emails? That's a big question. And that's those 5 updates, all of them very interesting. And all of them will help businesses a little bit get over the iOS 14 updates. The problem is the audiences are never going to be as good because now they're not tracking as many people across the web. What they know about their users is only going to be what they do on Facebook. Right, let's have a look. Back to the hashtags issue. I knew that would be a hot topic. I think bad hashtags lower the reach. Well, I guess they could, yeah. Particularly, I think as well, if you cut and paste all the hashtags, that's a signal to the algorithm that maybe you're doing something sneaky. So I think for that reason as well, that can help, but that can not help even. The iOS 14 are encouraging some welcome ads innovation. Yeah. You know, you think they thought about this before they were forced into it, right? Don't you? And they are particularly deluded enough to think people like Business Suite. You want to know a secret? I love, well, not Business Suite because I don't have it. I love Business Manager. I actually really like Business Manager, but I still don't know about emails there. I really don't know about emails there. I keep going to click the wrong button. We had Rob already. Okay. Here's Catherine.
Hi, I'm Catherine Mason and you're watching Digital Coffee with Amanda Webb.
What if you could set up an event, sell tickets to that event and run that event all on LinkedIn? Yeah, thought I was going to say Facebook, didn't you? Because we can do this already on Facebook, but it appears that LinkedIn is working on a similar product. And I actually think this could be brilliant. I'm not sure how Facebook paid events are doing. I think they're very creative and interesting way to run events. But, you know, now that we're coming out of lockdown, I'm not sure how they're doing. And it does seem a strange time for LinkedIn to launch paid events. But I guess you could actually run paid events that are real life meetings as well as online meetings. So there is relevance there. But LinkedIn have been working hard on their events product over the last year or so. In fact, you know, they've had whole conferences run via their LinkedIn events. They've got areas, I mean, they're better than Facebook events. They've got networking areas built in. You know, they've got so many tools built into LinkedIn events. I think they are a superior product. But what I think is even better is for a business event, I am more likely to buy a ticket for it on LinkedIn than I am on Facebook. And you all know that I rarely use LinkedIn, but it is a place where I expect to do business and attend business events. And that's the problem with Facebook. You can get distracted when you're in watching a Facebook Live. Don't get distracted now, but when you're watching a Facebook Live, you know, notifications pop up left, right, and center. It's very distracting. Whereas I think within LinkedIn, it would be a more professional place to be. I don't know. I just think this could work as well, if not better than what's happening on Facebook. But also, this is almost LinkedIn's version of the iOS 14 update. The more people they can get engaging and buying and doing things on LinkedIn, the easier it is going to be for businesses to advertise and for LinkedIn to get revenue from ads. And ads are clearly going to be a big part of this LinkedIn paid events product. Definitely more Facebook business focus on LinkedIn. More so now, I think. More so now, because a lot of the business, it's almost like they've swapped. It's like, well, the business posts I see on Facebook are all from personal profiles, including mine, sharing their business stuff, right? Whereas on LinkedIn, people are getting a bit more creative with their posting, and it's actually just becoming a more valuable network. So I think this is good. I think it's a good innovation.
Hi, I'm Lee from Wellshot, and you're watching The Digital Coffee with Amanda Webb. Cheers.
Let me ask you something. Had you noticed that on Twitter, when you watch a video, sometimes it's a little bit pixelated? No? No, me neither. I didn't realize this was an issue. I had noticed, the quality of the videos I'm watching back on Twitter that I've uploaded are slightly hazy compared to what I can see on my computer normally. But you'd expect that. You expect that when you go through a social network. Apparently, though, this has been an issue. And this isn't good news for Twitter, who obviously video is still a big part of their strategy. Last week we saw that they're bringing in those creator tools that they had in Fleet into the feed. So you'll be able to use visual content way more, including video. They have just, I thought I had a screen, but I don't have a screen. They have just announced that a week ago, they updated their video product. So now they shouldn't be pixelated anymore. But were the videos ever pixelated for you? I'd love to know. I've never had a problem watching a video on Twitter, and I'm imagining if it had ever been pixelated, I would have just blamed my internet. But if any of you have seen it, let me know.
This is May King from The FOMO Creator, and you're watching The Digital Coffee with Amanda Webb.
Are you considering accessibility when you're uploading to social media and your website? Sometimes I'm very lazy about this. I'm lazy about adding my alt text. I'm lazy about a lot of things, but it is so important. We've said it before. It is so important. In fact, there are laws there that you might not even be aware of about making your content accessible. I was actually talking to someone at the weekend. This is his business, accessibility. It's incredible, and we should all be paying more attention. But also, we need to make sure that if people are paying more attention, that the social networks allow us to be accessible. And I have to take my hat off to TikTok, because they fail in a lot of places, but one thing they really seem to be excelling at is the accessibility of their content. They are adding features fast compared to the old-fashioned social networks. I'm looking at you, Facebook and Twitter. They have innovated massively in this space. I mean, they added stuff around photosensitivity so that they weren't causing people to go into seizures. They've worked on the text to speech option, which is great for people who have speech difficulties, and also for people who have sight difficulties, because now you'll be able to describe what's on screen. There's so much we should be doing. This newest innovation, we knew it was coming. I've got a feeling we talked about it before, but now it's here, that you will be able to add auto captions to your TikTok videos. Now, I know this isn't a brand new thing for lots of social networks. You may be watching auto captions on my Facebook Live and my YouTube Live right now, but just looking at how young the company is and how bad they were at this stuff, a couple of years ago, I'm just really pleased to see TikTok innovating. So what will happen is, as a creator, you will switch auto captions on. It will auto caption your video. You'll be able to edit them, and it will appear on your video. I mean, look how long it took Instagram to add auto captioning to stories, and I still don't think we have it on videos. So I think this is Great. Tim has a very funny comment here. Auto-caption someone doing a dance badly. Yes. I personally haven't experienced pixelated video uploaded on Twitter either. It's great that they fixed it for others though. Yeah, maybe they just have it sorted for us. Maybe it was never an issue in the UK and Ireland. Maybe it was the United States that had the problem. But it is fixed, which is always good news.
I'm Ian Anderson-Gray and you're watching Digital Coffee with Amanda Webb.
If you run a Twitter space, getting discovered is always going to be the biggest problem. We've discussed some of the ways that you can do this. You can add additional speakers, additional hosts. They are actually starting to show Twitter spaces that people that you follow are joining rather than just the ones they're speaking into the top. But all this actually can limit your reach as well, because if you're on the same time as another Twitter space, people have to scroll across to find you. So one of the other discoverability tools that Twitter has been working on is adding tags to your spaces. And this is now available for Android users. Myself and Making are both iPhone users. But they have added this for Android users. You'll be able to add up to 3 tags, which will classify then your space to say what it's about. So one, this will stop people joining who just join in for a second to see what it's about and leave. But secondly, it should be more appealing to people when they can see the topic. The downside though, apart from that it's only Android at the moment, but I'm sure Android users are going, at last, something that we get first. Is they've only 10 topics to choose from. You can't choose, you've only got a list of 10 topics. So obviously that is going to expand in the future, but I do think this is good news for the discoverability of your spaces. I can see we've got a comment from Deirdre and from Making. So let's just go here. Sometimes other people's videos on Twitter just won't run. I might be watching a vid snippet move to the next and it won't work, thinking it might be my coverage. So you're having problems, but it's not the pixelating thing. See, I've always just assumed it's my coverage as well. Twitter Spaces topics innovation for Android first. Can't wait for it to be released on iPhone. Yeah, but we are a little bit greedy, us iPhone users, because we do get everything first. So, fair play. Android can have this one. That's it for the Digital Coffee for this week. But don't forget to tune in at 10:30 a.m. I don't know why I said that, on Twitter, where myself and Making, it's a bit of fun as well. So come and join us to chat about the latest news in digital marketing, all these stories. You can also come request be a speaker and join in and have your say. If I don't see you then, I will see you same bat time, same bat place next week. Bye-bye.